Karen Holton TV presents the Aliens and Angels podcast. Meet experiencers, contactees, abductees, ET human hybrids, and more weird paranormal states of reality. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels podcast. Got a really interesting guest today. And let me just go to my notes. Um, this is my first time guest, but she's no stranger to friends of this channel. She goes by Fearlessly Phoenixing on YouTube, and she's also known as the Phoenix. Phoenix is a born intuitive with many encounters and experiences that, although nurtured by her aunt who raised her in her spirituality, it wasn't until much later that she fully came into accepting it wasn't all make believe and her imagination. As an intuitive guide, she has helped many people in many facets, from readings and mediumship to helping people navigate the deeper aspects of themselves as she helps them unravel what, sorry, as she helps them unravel that which is within as they discover their truth and their potential to create and live their authentic selves and the life they deserve. She has experienced downloads for many years and is always open to the synchronicities and correlations that confirm and provide even further information. Today, we discuss our intuitive navigation of the self and the all encompassing from you to me to the all that we see, feel, know, and can't explain. All of the links are featured below in the description. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and please do share my content with your friends. And I'm very happy to announce that YouTube memberships are now available, and you can receive my perks and help to support the channel. So upcoming, I have some members only videos where I figure if you guys are going to trust me enough to take out a membership and, and basically commit to my channel, the least I can do is turn around and make some videos just for you guys. I'm going to share really important information, insights into my life, all kinds of things. The videos will probably be around, 15 or 20 minutes long, each one, and you'll only be able to access them if you're a member. So it's a way of me saying thank you. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you, especially our wonderful community here in the live chat. So I have actually an announcement. Okay, I just got a message from Phoenix. She says she's in the studio thing. I feel like I did something wrong as I can't see anything in the studio part. I don't know what to say except log out, log back in, and try that and see if that works. I also want to say hi to Next Level Ascension 1, Missing Time for 20. Of course, my wonderful moderator, Denise. And I welcome everybody to the show. Polly's in the house today. Welcome, Polly. Polly and I have become good friends. She's been on the show before as well. So while we're waiting for the Phoenix to arrive, I do have an important announcement. I've heard from a lot of people talk about how they get a little bit of flack on their from their YouTube videos. Sometimes it's just people who leave comments that are not very nice. Sometimes it could be, I don't know, disagreements, whatever, I don't know. But I think up till now, I haven't been popular enough to have anyone really want to bother me, troll me, as they say. But now it's started. So I want to let all of you know, just a point of clarification. I have been getting comments on my videos from somebody. I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to encourage them. Actually, I blocked them from commenting on my videos anymore because I've already explained to them, and I don't know where they got their ideas from, but they didn't get them from me. So I'll just briefly tell you folks so that you're aware. And of course, Denise, if you get any of this in the chat, please remove it because it's not true, and rumors spread, and I just don't want to be a part of that. So I'll tell you what their misconception is. This person believes that, oh, hi, Anchor Haven. Nice to have you on the show. Sorry, in the chat. Okay, so this is what's been happening. I had a person who has been commenting saying, "What's going on, Karen? You said many years ago that the aliens were going to come and rescue everybody from Earth, and this hasn't happened. So what's going on? Are you a con artist, or why are you giving us this bad information when it's not true?" Well, first of all, I think that person has me mixed up with someone else because I have never deviated from my original experience ever on anything, not in videos, not as guest appearances, not in my book. So they're under the mistaken impression that I have been promising in cult-like fashion for years that aliens are going to come and rescue everybody. And for those of you who are familiar with my work, that's simply not true. Absolutely simply not true. What I have said is that if there is a catastrophic event here on Earth, there is a small chance that some what we consider ETs will come and will rescue some of us. Now, let me clarify. In my book, I say anywhere from 0.1 to 0.1% of the Earth's population. And the reason I say that is because there is a huge infection here on planet Earth, an infection that's infected people's minds, ways of perceiving, and ways of dealing with each other socially. And this has caused us to have really a lot of discomfort, here on Earth. So the thing is that if ET is going to see us as worthy of relocation and is willing to relocate some of us, actually a small fraction of the population on Earth, it's only going to be those people who know how to raise their frequency, those people who've become living to become the change they want to see in the world. This would be people who are loving and kind. This would be people who've put our warring ways behind us. Certainly would not include, psychotic people or sociopathic or psychopathic. It's not going to include any of that. So those that have done the work on Earth and would be valuable to resettlement, then I could see some of us being relocated. I have never said that spaceships are going to show up and everyone's going to be evacuated to paradise. That would never happen. That goes against everything that I learned from my ET experiences and continue as far as downloads and information from ET goes. So I thought I would come right out and just tell everybody that this is a rumor. Someone's trying to cast me as a cult leader. It's simply not true. And I encourage everybody to watch some of my videos. Go back. I mean, in the beginning, my videos are not very good. But I had to start someplace, just like a piano player starts pecking at one key at a time until they learn their scores and learn how to play the piano. Same is true for me in my podcast. So in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. I had nobody to help me out with it. And so some of them are probably a little rough around the edges, but the information hasn't changed. So I just want everybody to know that we're still waiting for the Phoenix. I hope she can get in. anyway, we'll just give her a few more minutes and I'll go and check out the chat. Hello, all you lovely people. I got to tell you, I'm so pleased with the community that we have grown around my podcasts. And I've got actually two wonderful moderators. One of them, of course, is Denise. She's been my moderator the longest. And then also I have had the Phoenix also just recently added for when the chat gets kind of busy. So I just want to tell you all how much I very much appreciate you being here. You're awesome. You totally make the show. And as often as possible, I will post your comments on the screen. And I often read them out if I can, depending on how it's going with my guest. And that way, those that are listening on an audio podcast will hear your comments. And your comments are very important and a vital part of what I do here. It's not all about me, it's about our community. And I'm just thrilled to bits. So, as I said before, we got Missing Time for 20. Welcome. And we've got Next Level Ascension 1. Oh, here we go. Oh, I know who this is. It's Jay Skyrunner. Jay, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you right away. Also, I made a new YouTube for connecting with people for shows. I don't know if it's etc. or ETs. Keep it separate from my healing Qigong YouTube. No videos yet. Working on my new guests to come on with me. Wonderful. If for those of you who are not familiar with Jay Skyrunner, he also makes videos with Maya. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Maya, your name. Oh, Fire. I'm sorry. Someone in the chat can remind me. It just evaporated, but they're wonderful, and they're teaching people how to improve their health and raise their frequency so they can have more amazing experiences while here on Earth. Let's see. Okay, Denise is asking people to please share your YouTube channel. Not sure. Yes, it is Jay Skyrunner. Bless your heart for being here. Thank you. And he's got lots of friends here in the chat too. Anchor Haven, again, welcome. So nice of you to be here. Oh yeah, Mark DeCurious. I always have trouble saying your name. I don't want to say it wrong and sound like I'm saying weird things because I do respect you and your choice of moniker. But anyway, Nicki Minaj is the queen. Well, maybe. I thought the queen was dead and they got a king now, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah, Denise says, no negativity. I'll be watching. Awesome. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, I know this is going to sound kind of harsh and cruel, but there's some people, all they want to do is throw a mess into whatever good work we're trying to do. And so Denise is going to eliminate those comments and, if need be, ban the person. But we haven't had too much trouble so far, but, you never, ever really know. Let's see. Can you see me in there? Nope, I cannot see you at all. So if you click the link, the first thing you do is you come up with a screen, Phoenix. You come up with a screen that lets you put in your name and put in a title if you have one. You can adjust your background and put in if you want to use a green screen. And then if you just scroll down a little bit, then it has enter the studio. And until you enter the studio and it tells you that you're now live and that I could add you to the screen at any time, you're not actually in YouTube. You're just at that first point where you put in your name and possibly choose a background or whatever you need to do to your settings. And then below that, it says, join the show or something like that. So I hope you can find it. I know you're here, but I'd love it if you could be on with me and we could start talking. That would be awesome. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. Everybody's saying hi to you, Phoenix, in the live. I am, but it doesn't look the same as when we all went live together. Okay, you know what? I'm going to send you another link right now in Gmail in case there was a problem with this one. And I'm sending it right now. So that should arrive in your email inbox soon. And like I said, you once you click it, you'll come up with a screen where you can do your adjustments, put your name in, whatever, and then you just scroll down a little bit and it'll say enter the studio, and you have to do that before I can actually add you. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. We've got Anchor Haven in the house today. Uh, Missing Time wants to know what. Oh, there she is. See, she made it. I had faith she would be here. This is great. It can be a little nerve-wracking the first time, but let's see. I did send the link. She's here now. Starfire. Thank you. Maya Starfire. That's who I was trying to say earlier. Makes videos with Jay Skyrunner, and they're an awesome, what I would call a dynamic duo for sure. Let's see. Just going through, I think I have caught up with the chat. Okay, without further ado, let's bring on the Phoenix. Hi, oh, I'm so glad you made it. Yeah, it can be a bit frustrating in the beginning, but now
The
you've got,
links weren't the same.
oh, they weren't.
Yeah, so like when we came on all together in like December and January,
Yeah.
it looked completely different. This one, it was just like a black screen. There was no title, no nothing. And when I clicked on the new one that you sent, it was a completely different link than the other one. So I was like, I wonder if there was just like some
Hmm.
hiccup on their side or something. But I'm so glad I could be here.
Oh, me too. Me too. Welcome, welcome. So the only part you may have missed was I was telling everybody that I'm starting to get some trolls who are commenting on my videos, and they're accusing me of basically starting a cult. They don't use those words, but they say, "What's going on? You know, you promised us years ago ETs were going to come and rescue us all." And no, I never said any of that. So I told them if they wanted to find out what I'm really saying, buy my book. Well, they didn't like that,
Yeah.
so they came back on another program and said, "No, it's not right for you to just try to peddle your book to try to get us to know. Why don't you just come straight out and tell us?" I says, "I never said any of that. Please stop pestering me." But anyway, I just want people to know I never said that spaceships are going to come and pick everybody up. So,
I've been listening to you for years, and I think the only thing of reference to saving that you have ever mentioned was you have to save yourself.
thank you. And
That's
I
it.
and I and I did say, and it is in my book, that a very small percentage of people who have the right heart condition may be eligible for resettlement. I don't know for sure, and I don't know what group or anything, but we got to work on ourselves. You're right. That is absolutely true.
And that's the thing, right? Is like so many people believe this crazy notion that and I would never even imagine those words coming out of your mouth or in any of your writings. And you're right, like even if there is like a small portion, if you think that you can just be like crazy and do whatever you want and be like, "Oh yeah, it's going to all be good." No, you save yourself in order for there be anything further than that. It's like all these other ones within different religious contexts that there's going to be somebody who comes back and saves you. And it's like, okay, so I can be a dirtbag the rest of the time because some broski doski is going to come and save me. and I don't have to do any work.
Yeah, you know
That's
what?
not how it happens.
No, I don't think so either. And you know what it reminds me of? And I'm not trying to poo poo on anyone's religious beliefs. If you got a religion, it works for you, great. But it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me a lot of people who go to church once a week or maybe less, and they go see the preacher and they confess their sins and he forgives them, and they walk out and they get to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever their dirty deeds are. And right now there's a lot coming out about the dirty deeds for those who are what we will call rich and powerful, not all of them but some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tied into religion too. And that's also tied to, oh, we don't have to do anything because Jesus is going to come and save us. And oh, we don't have to do anything because ET is going to come and save us. I think the people that think that way and talk that way are already deluding themselves and have something to hide, because those of us who know we're sinners, and I'm not saying that lightly, and I don't want to label any of you guys as sinners, but I know for me, sinning for me just means, boy, I screw up a lot. I get things wrong, and that's okay. That's okay. We do that, but I also know that it's up to me to improve my life, and I know you found the same thing. um, I'm just going to quickly go to my notes because I got talking about all kinds of other things. I want you to explain to us, if you don't mind, um, our intuitive navigation of the self and the all, how that's all connected and how we're all connected. And then after you're finished, I'm going to tell you a little about a vision I had that completely confirms this.
Ooh, that's exciting. Okay. So there's a few aspects of this. Um, First off, I guess like I have this one thing that I always talk about, which is the earth generated operating system, which is the egos. And
Mm-hmm.
it's flawlessly designed for survival, and it's in all living things within the earth's biome. Now, the intuitive connectedness is the consciousness soul self that is within us, that we are interwoven within the fabrics of everything. And it's where, for me, like, and this is where it was funny when I was saying, like, I'm not quite sure what to topic version for this conversation, because to me, everything is the all encompassing, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
like it comes back to even like how biting the apple of knowledge. It's because we're seeking knowledge outside of ourselves versus we are not allowing ourselves the intuitive knowing that is deep within ourselves. Even when we do go to look for something, we're being intuitively guided at all times. If you're okay, let me rephrase that. We can be intuitively guided at all times because there is this um like when people see 11:11 on a clock, I try and tell people that there's more than just 11:11. There's words, there's feelings, there's images, there's all sorts that if you just allow that intuitive guidance to navigate you, you will find incredible exploration and correlations that otherwise you can Google all you want, but you are not going to find them. And
Mm-hmm.
it's within that that like when you do find something that pops out to you, it's it's going to pop out to you not a I'm seeking this information, but rather like, whoa, wait, kind of like the 11:11, but it's going to be a word and it may not even make sense to what um you couldn't logically put it into words how it's going to connect to this next thing. You could end up 15 web pages over, and all of a sudden you've connected so many dots that to put it on paper doesn't make sense. So like
Mm-hmm.
our intuitive like guidance system is within us. We can feel it, we can sense it. And if like I mean, I find a lot of things get stirred up because people are in a state of desperation right now, and it's been that way for a while. And so, unfortunately, it's been monetized so that it can muddy the waters because everything else from religion that once said that science was hoodoo voodoo bad, it's once they figured out how to put the same pyramid to it as they did with religious um, groupings, is that then they were like, okay, well, now people aren't just following this part. So people are starting to do this spirituality thing. And spirituality thing is too broad of a spectrum because it can connect so many things. If everybody was willing to see that they all hold a piece of the treasure map, nobody
Mm-hmm.
holds the entire treasure map. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that if people are more willing to see that they're interconnected, they have this intuitive guidance that get lost in a forest and you like, sure, I get it that some people might actually just get lost. But like as a kid, my favorite was to go get lost in the forest and intuitively allow myself to find like the exit, but it wasn't the same way that I got in. And it's something that I do with life. And I love when I get to witness people seeing interwoven connections. It's these synchronicities that are more than just what you're seeking. You have to be like
Mm-hmm.
open for all of it, and it becomes all encompassing. And we find ourselves in positions that we can find our way out or into whatever it is. But it has to come from a place of self understanding, self awareness, but not by that limitations that is that earth generated operating system that has been used to keep us because we have evolved into the more consciousness soul self. But there's I always say there's complete polar opposites, right? We can be in like that where we are in the primal aspect where we are living and surviving, which people can thrive in. People, when you're put into a crappy situation or a life-threatening situation, people can absolutely thrive and they become like powerful beasts. But if we keep them in that same level of survival state, but just on the other side, where it's in the state of less primal and more consciousness aspect, it's like a parasite. And so if we can like allow ourselves to be intuitively guided, listen with that intuition that is within all of our capacities, is like I believe that the navigation and the leveling up would be at its ultimate speed and that. But I don't know if that's what you meant by that one, but sorry. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I actually didn't mean anything by it. I just thought it would be a good jumping off point. I wanted to tell you guys a couple things. First of all, well, anyway, thank you, Phoenix, and thank you for persisting and letting me know to send you another link. It's really important that you're here, and I'm sorry you had a bad time. And also, before I forget, I'm not sure when she left this, but Kristen left me a very generous super chat, and I want to acknowledge her and say thank you so very much. It really helps a lot. I hate asking people for money, but some of you just seem to know when to send it for the right amount, and I thank you all very, very much. Okay, so what I wanted to say is, like, I started having my experiences and awakening when I left religion. Now, please, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's religion. I think everything is true, and all, like what you said, all holds a piece of the puzzle. So if you love Jesus and you know Jesus is there for you, that's awesome. I have no complaints and no criticism whatsoever. But when you start to have your awakening, it often starts with synchronicities, little downloads, random thoughts. It's all kinds of things that don't necessarily make sense. Things you can't tell people at the supermarket. Well, in my opinion, I should say that so I don't get cast off YouTube. But in my opinion, it is an absolute flag that you're on the right track. It's so, so very important. I also, around that time and before, I sought some psychiatric help because I was really depressed and having trouble with anxiety. And I think that's pretty normal for the state of world affairs. But I knew not to tell them because they would pathologize it and turn it into some kind of illness and try to give me a pill for it. And I knew that I was onto something really special. I had no idea how many other people were going through this. Phoenix, this is like really common. And so I just wondered if you have any comment about any of that, that people, when they start noticing these, I'm just going to use the word synchronicities, there's even more to it, but they don't know what to do with it. But I think the number one thing is come hang out with people who've been through it, are going through it, and will tell you, what it's doing in our lives. And I think that's the best we could do. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to ramble on. Please go ahead and share your thoughts
No,
on this.
you're absolutely right. And that's one of those things. And like with just a tie into that intuitive guidance thing is like myself and Matt from the Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. I always get
Yes.
the, I may have put it backwards again on that one, but we were
No,
talking
no,
about
you did it
on one of
right.
your lives about like just feeling nature and knowing like where he was talking about where the bear was, and I was talking
Mm-hmm.
about fishing, right? And so one of those things is like with synchronicities um as well is let it just be, so I was explaining this earlier to someone about how in the mornings, I tend to do this thing where I call it like this open door, a door without a spring. So as the breeze comes in, it might blow the door open and allow fresh air in, and it
Mm-hmm.
brings to light things. And so letting yourself have that door that it's not closed. It's not on a spring where it shuts. It's not with a little label that says only this can enter. And that being said is like allowing yourself these synchronicities to come in, bring it into the awareness. Sure. Don't focus on it. Don't focus on it because just like anything else, like those big pictures where it has all the little pictures everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
if you try and focus on it, the picture doesn't make sense. It's just a bunch of little pictures. But
Yeah.
as soon as you like let your eyes kind of relax, it seems to come into focus, and it's a really hard fight because you're like, "But I wanna focus on this." But every time you try and focus on something, it, like, fades away. It's because it's like, it's already there. So just allow it to come in. Let the words, let the experiences, let them all come in. Register them into this, like, category library in the back of your brain so that when it comes up again, you recognize it and it creates a recall. Don't go searching the internet for all these things because the worst thing you can do is live by somebody else's words. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like when people talk, it's always something I've always used for um like a reference is when I would explain to people, it's kind of like dream interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
What you consider, so if you were like, okay, well, this is my dream. I had a dream about a fox. So you can go into Google, you can go into your dream dictionary, whatever you want to do, and it's going to say trickster, blah blah blah. But what if that fox actually had nothing to do with that? It actually represented a fox that your great grandmother gave you when you were 2 years old. And it actually represents something completely wholly different than what somebody else has deemed it to be. And now you have embodied this, totally missing what it was that it was for you. And so that's where
Mm-hmm.
we have to like register ourselves with what it is that aligns to us. What is something saying to us? It may not make sense at all right now, but being open to accepting it, like if somebody like I always said with the 1111, if something stands out to you, the way that people always talk about 1111 or 222, whatever, is realizing that more than just those numbers can show up as those synchronicities. Also, even with those numbers, don't bank everything on what the internet says. Like my number is 1117. I always know that something's like confirming, something's like a go. There's something going on whenever I start noticing that there's 1117 and out of the most random places, 1117 according to whatever it says on the internet, don't know, don't care. I care about how it makes me feel and what it means as a recognition for myself, and not embodying anybody else's is the biggest thing and what allows even more synchronicities to come through. And you're right, like being around people that you can share those with, because sometimes part of it is that another person might hold something to that. And that's where, like, yes, okay, maybe you Google something, but being willing to recognize that maybe what you weren't expecting might lead you into something that now pulls out something else. And that's where these synchronicities, correlations, and everything else can come together in ways that logically cannot be explained. Mathematically, how you ended up 15 pages this way, and yet nothing, no amount could actually correlate them how you got there. But by the end of it, somehow you've created an entire map that it's logically sound what you've come to find, and the correlations are incredible. And that's where,
Mhm.
like, our synchronicities, they have this guidance power, but you have to trust in yourself and finding beautiful communities like this where you can share. And even just being within that same vibration of, like, not feeling like that weird outsider, because that's the other thing is what's so funny about, like, all the awakening stuff is that it feels like it's been so many people's dirty little secret for so
Mhm.
long that, my
Mhm.
goodness, like, I remember one day I just had, "Screw it, what do I have to lose?" And I said something, and about, like, I had some statement about alien and, like, about crystals and everything, because I didn't care at this point. And the person's response to me, I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" Like, I've only ever known people on the internet to be that way with me, and so to actually, like, talk with someone in real life, like, face to face, that I also didn't find through something, because it's like, it's been so many people's dirty little secrets, and, like, finding out about even, like, aliens and that, like, oh my goodness, like, finding out stuff through my mom that, like, I was raised by, like, a military family that, like, never once would I have ever dreamed of certain words coming out of my parents' mouth that have come out over the last 2 years. My dad was in intelligence ops, and, like, my mom worked, in the army as well, and just being raised in that, I never would have thought, because they also made fun of my aunt for being a space cadet and things like that. But then hearing some of the things that come out of their mouth the last couple of years, I'm like, "What?" But that
Yeah.
also doesn't mean it's feeling okay and safe to just share that with everybody either,
Mhm.
because it's not always safe, like, and that's where intuition comes back down to.
Mhm. Totally, totally. That while you were speaking, I was reminded. So back when I was having my awakening, we had computers and stuff, but nothing like today. This would be back in the mid 1990s, I guess. And a saying came to me. I was pondering all these things I was picking up, and I heard not heard a voice, but it came into my mind a saying that said, "Let all things be for the sake of the now." Meaning that everything I'm perceiving is for a purpose. Let it be. And that's not too far from what you just said. Just let it be, and it will unfold as it's supposed to in the right time. So whenever I start to get a bee in my bonnet about something, I just go, let all things be for the sake of the now. And now, with like a capital N, like the present is all we really, really have anyway. So I wanted to share that. And I have a question for you, Phoenix. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term map maker before. I consider you, myself, and a lot of other folks were map makers. So, what does a map maker do? A map maker goes into uncharted territory, finds out what's risky, what's not, what you can eat, what you can't eat. Be careful of like alligators here or whatever. And this is a metaphor, okay? So we have the ability to see beyond what the construct tells us is real. We go out, we assess it, we find out what seemed to help, what didn't help, whatever. And then we bring that news, because basically we're creating a map, a mental or a spiritual map that we then share with our audience, or basically whoever will listen. And I'd love to get your thoughts on that whole concept of the map maker.
I absolutely love that, honestly, because and you know what? The first thing that came to mind was, like so like, plant medicine and things like that, right? And we know how some things are, like, poisonous, but yet, at that same token, those same poisons are what can save people, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, there's all sorts out there that excuse me, to, like, look it up, it's like, "Oh, that's poisonous," but yet actually it's, like, incredibly helpful, or but, like, even just, like, some things it's safe, some things it's not, right? And, like, the idea of being those map makers, that's a great I love that because it's true. Um, and it's funny because I've noticed that, more people, as you just described, these map makers, it feels like a lot of them have had a lot of data that they've
Mm-hmm.
been creating and, like, they've been correlating and they've been, like, it's like they have this huge binder, but nobody has gotten, uh like, I find the to take your term map makers is, like it seems like a lot of, like, true map makers. Because 'cause don't get me wrong, everybody can probably, like, and there's people that have put in aspects throughout the way that has made it possible for things to be this way now, but it's like voices are being leveled up for those that were map making instead
Mm-hmm.
of, like, those who were just, like, top screaming. Like, you don't see a lot of, really popular, huge following people that have true map making. It's where they've taken a little bit and they just kind of, like, leave it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I really like that, and I like the fact that how you described it is, where I'm seeing that people who have been doing that work are now starting to become more boisterous and sharing, and in a way that is perfect because it's not collecting that huge gain traction where it's just being monetized in a way that, isn't true, I guess, how to say it, but it's where, like,
Mm-hmm.
those things that like, to find the sacred places on the map, not everybody is meant to find at this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everybody and anybody can, but they will never find it if they don't understand it, and right now, I feel like that's the biggest thing is, like, people have collected, and they're creating this, and they're bringing it forward, and although it may seem for anybody who's feeling like, "Oh, but I've put in work and I'm just not getting the following," it's because there's not supposed to be that huge following because it's, like, they're not meant to yet. You know what I mean? It's almost like
Mm-hmm.
you're, uh it's like you haven't had the proper like going mountain climbing without doing the training, and now
Yes.
you're at high altitude. And without getting that training in and without experiencing and understanding what that high altitude is you're just gonna get high altitude sickness and you're never gonna make it to the top. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's where I feel like the following has to be like this slower progress because people won't understand it, they won't embody it, and they might just get altitude sickness along the way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I love this map maker, like, that is ingenious, I love that.
Oh, I didn't make it up. I actually was at a retreat and there were different sort of psychic people there. And there was a woman, actually, she's here in Alberta. Leandra Hardnail is her name. Very gifted, highly recommend her. And she asked what my purpose was while I was here on Earth. And she uses a pendulum, right, for answers. And it came up that I was a map maker. And the more I delved into it, the more it seemed to fit. Getting on about the podcast, there's so many podcasts I've made where maybe one person or two people, or maybe my Aunt Martha watched it, nobody else. It took me 5 years to get my first 54 subscribers. Still a tiny channel, and that's okay. But what was interesting is at one point I was actually going to And I said to my guides, I'm no good at this. I'm a lousy podcaster. Well, I'm a little bit better now, but I mean, I'm a lousy podcaster. My messages sound like they're crazy woman talking with, crazy woman with too many cats, which, oh God, I'd love to become one of those. But you know and I said, but I want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. It's embarrassing. And my guides gave me shit. They said, who are you to decide whether the messages we're giving you are shit? Who are you to decide that there's nobody interested? Who are you to decide? No, no. If you want to quit, you can quit, but you have to have the faith that there's somebody out there. Somebody out there. You're going to touch their heart. You're going to touch their life in a way that's going to make their life better, and you won't even ever know about it. And so I kept doing it. And well, I mean, I'm not huge. I don't care about being a huge channel. I just want to do some good in this world. And there's so much crap on YouTube and alt and mainstream, that I want to try to feed a little, share, I guess, share with everybody a little bit about of that life spring that I experienced, that you experience, Phoenix, this life spring that never needs priming. It's like it's just flows. It's so fabulous, and we want everyone to have that because we love our fellow humans. We also love our fellow animals and our fellow plants and trees and weird things. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling on. I want to toss that back over to you and get your thoughts, because I'm sure that you sort of get what I'm saying here. It's all important.
Yeah, honestly, and it's funny, it's something that, I've struggled personally with is, for, like, so I first started live streaming, back in 2017, and I was in love with it, and, it opened up, like, the beauty of Pandora's box for, like, finally being willing to accept that for the longest time, I thought everybody was just really nice and telling me I was right and things like that, and I convinced myself that everybody was super nice and, like, everybody was lying to me. And then experiences happened that, like, I finally stopped, convincing myself that, things weren't real, that I wasn't making things up in my head, because I got to a point where I had, like, no other choice. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "You either believe like this, because if you can logically make out any other way how you would actually know this, how you could have had this, then please go ahead. But you're gonna have to come up with some crazy stuff to try and make that logical." And I was like, "Okay, so this is for real." Like, I knew it, but I had avoided it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it was like growing up, the biggest lie I ever said was how I knew things, because I would make up how I knew things, because it was the only way that I wouldn't be dismissed, called crazy, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, that kept me from having that confidence, but 2017, I really enjoyed it, but then I somehow fell back into this, like, I don't know, the way things were going with live streaming platforms changed, everything like that, and it felt like I don't know what to do with it. And so it was, actually you who inspired me to, like, I remember first finding you and I was like, "I'm gonna meet her one day," and I'm like, "If she can do this, I can do this." And and that's where, like, this year I had said, like, this is what, like, I finally want to just, like, do the things, because something that I've struggled with is watching so many people follow blindly in a time of desperation, and they are, and I get it. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody is going to find the messages, but, those who do find it, maybe it is that, like, and it's funny because it took me a while to realize that. So, like, I stop and I help people, or, like, yeah, this elderly gentleman, he knocked on my door one day and it was hot, and he asked if he could use my washroom, and I was like, "Yeah, for sure," and then I made sure to grab a bottle of water for him, and I had thought to myself, like, "If not me, who? Like, who would do this? If even if it's just the fact that what if nobody else was home? But in my
Mhm.
mind, and it may sound like whatever, but I was like, if I don't do it, then who will? And that
Mhm.
doesn't mean I have to do everything, but what it does mean is like what I feel is the right thing within my heart of hearts is what I should be doing. And if I feel like my whole message is to just depend on you, not to say you shouldn't have community, not like that, not at all. That's not what I mean at all. I mean the
Mhm.
sense that you need to trust in yourself, love yourself enough to know that you know the answers within you. And even if you don't feel like you know the answers, you do. Because the reason why you connect with answers is because there is a forever memory inside of us that is connected, like we're kind of like Wi-Fi, but to the
Mhm.
all source knowing everything, which is why you know things and pull things out like that, that just mind boggling. And if you think about something, all of a sudden it disappears. You know, like
Mhm.
you may be able to remember the name of that person off the top of your like, whoa. And then if you stopped and tried to think about it, you would have totally never got it. It's because there is an all-knowing connection that is beyond any man-made created thing. But
Mhm.
if and that's where like that story of the apple and biting into knowledge is the
Mhm.
idea of seeking outside of us and searching for answers when the answers are always there. It's just
Mhm.
putting that dependency on an external source to validate whatever it is what keeps us confined and keeps us stupid, you know? And I say that in like,
Mhm.
quotations because we have the potential to be at our highest intelligence, which our highest intelligence is a frequency of love and acceptance. And I think like that's where you're right. The message, who are we to say that this is stupid or this isn't good and that? Because at that same token is like, what if you were the one voice that that person heard that finally kept them from feeling alone and crazy
Mhm.
in this world? Even if they
Mhm.
never come to your show, even if that was the only time they ever heard that one statement, you have no idea what that could unlock for someone. You have no idea how
Exactly.
much, like, even their impact on another person because of your words. And,
Mhm.
like they say, like, 6 degrees of separation or 6 pixels of separation was the new version of it, is that what you do for one person then amplifies outwards, and nothing ever just stops.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
my thoughts.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just
No,
agreeing
you're
with you.
good. No, no, no.
I
I was
wanted
just yeah.
No, it's wonderful. You have such a wonderful message. And now that you've known or gotten to know these wonderful people in the chat, I bet some of them would want to be on your show and talk about other things. And this should just grow and grow or very organically. I wanted to tell people I have sort of an odd approach to all the information that comes in from whatever source. Sometimes even YouTube just comes into my feed exactly what I needed to see, what I needed to hear. It's very interesting how it works, but sometimes a lot of information can be a little bit overwhelming. Like, what are we supposed to do with it? It's too much to even journal. So what I do, and I don't expect everyone else to go do what I do, but it really helped, is I imagine all this information coming into my brain. And then I use an expression that's a little weird. I say, I just toss it like a salad, just sort of toss it like a salad and leave it. And it's much like what you just said, then the right conclusions, perceptions, experiences all happen very organically because we have our higher self, we have our subconscious. I believe that's all part of us, and then even more than that, there's the spiritual realms and ET and everything else. It's just one big, beautiful phenomena. So, yeah, so that's what I always do. I tell people I just toss the information like a salad in the back of my mind and just let it sit there, let it do what it's intended to do without directing it. I know it sounds very strange, but I
No.
guess I am a bit strange. I don't know what's your thoughts on that,
I
Phoenix.
actually I actually wanted to say something about that because there was something really important in there when you said like how all like doesn't matter the source of which you get your information. This is a really big key thing for me that I really try to hammer home to people. Don't think that the information only comes in a blog post or a book. Be prepared and be willing to accept that you might find the information like I I only watch anime that I'm guided to by my internals, and I fought certain ones where I'm like, No, no." Finally, I, like, click on it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm like, "Oh my gosh," and it's not in the way that, like, the story is telling, like, everything that you need like, this not like how you would maybe look up, like, "What does the word this mean?" No, 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 but, like, where all of a sudden those things that you've tossed that salad in the back is going to all of a sudden come out through these ways, and you're gonna be like, "Whoa," and you can discover that, like, the reason why all these works of art exist is because there's something that has been told through it, and to limit yourself by saying it's just fiction is limiting yourself to the intensity and amazingness that is all the information. To believe that only the information that is useful can come
Hmm.
through, a textbook or something is is just silly because the way that we see synchronicities, the way we absorb information, all these things is the exact same channel in which people receive in order to create these incredible pieces of work. And anime, by far, I have seen more within it than anything else. But as I've tried to, when I try and direct people to a specific one or anything, I remind them that it's like it's not the story at face value. It's if you see it, you will understand, and it will bring about pieces. But at the same time, I realize that if you aren't on that like, I'll read comments under, different episodes and things like that, and I'm like, "Did you people watch the same episode as me? Like, you guys missed the whole like, how are you
Hmm.
what?" But it's one of those things that, like, yeah, you have to allow everything, even if it doesn't make sense, even if you just think it's entertainment, so if you do toss it back and let it just, like, be there, when
Hmm.
the right thing comes up, don't fool yourself, don't gaslight yourself, and don't oppress yourself by saying, "Well, it's not something that some guru said, some scientist said, some textbook." Allow yourself to be the top professor, the top everything for
Hmm.
you. And at that point, you're gonna see that there is crazy amounts of information, but allowing yourself to just like you said, allowing it all just to come in, but I don't have to focus on any of it right now.
Hmm.
Allowing the focus to be made the way kind of like when a camera comes out and it like the image is like all through and instead of just trying to focus on every single tree in that landscape, allowing yourself to be like, which one is it that I feel I'm guided to? And then zoom in. Allow the
Hmm.
but allow the focus to slowly soften and come into it so that that way you get to experience whatever it is that is meant to be from it. But it's so true. It's like allowing that to just be. Don't rush it, don't focus on it and trust. Trust is the biggest
Hmm.
thing,
Hmm.
self-trust.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a hard one. Um, we all have our own internalized oppression, and I find I catch myself gaslighting myself all the time, and I have to go, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't know where that came from, but that's not part of me. Um, I also highly recommend anime. And, when I first started watching anime, it seemed too simplistic. I was used to all the detail from the Disney, movies and different kinds of cartoons. But the reason the artwork is simple, very simple, is so that the profoundness of the message of the conversations can sink in. You could, if you had too much going on the screen and detail and everything, you'd be all hooked into that. But because it moves quite slowly visually, it allows us to take in, I think, more learning through our auditory. And ideally, before I had my most recent brain injury, I was able to read the subtitles and listen to it in Japanese. And I love that because there's inflection and passion and emotion in the language that you lose when you do the subtitles. Well, now I have to do subtitles until I heal my brain enough, which I'm working on. But I highly recommend anime. And I also find that I often have to watch 3 or 4 episodes before it really starts to get in the profoundness of it. Because in the beginning, it's just because my brain has been trained to take in information different ways. But I think it's wonderful, and yeah, I definitely love it. So Hillbilly Herb says, I know very little anime, but will say that Princess Mononoke blew my mind. Yeah, there's a
One
lot.
of my
And some
one of my
some
favorite
sorry,
ones is
someone,
Steins Gate. Hmm?
oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. But some of
If you
them
wanna
are
check
also
out Mandela effects, yes, it's Mandela effects and everything. It will blow your mind because it's something that, like, if you just and especially if you look at the timelines and things, oh my gosh, Steins Gate, man, Steins Gate.
okay, good to know. So we'll recommend that to everybody as your homework for today. Yeah, a lot of people like the Cowboy Bebop. Um, so yeah, there's tons. And video games have kind of a bad rap, but some of them are very profound. Oh my God. And it's very
Fallout.
good for your brain. Yes, it's very, very good for your brain. It forms all kinds of new neural networks that helps you to strategize and to see the world slightly different. Like it's all good. It's all good. Basically, everything they warn you about, the mainstream warns you about. Oh, video games are violent. They're not good. No, I know a lot of people who were children and they were started playing video games, and they've been playing video games like, and now they're in their 40s, and they are the least violent people I have ever seen. And it's because they tell me that's how they get their shadow side out, how they deal with
Mhm.
it, let it run around for a little while and then come back to reality. So yeah, that's really important. Now we're running out of time. I'm going to give a little extra time today because we had a few technical difficulties at the beginning. But I'd love to get to hear your take on AI, because I'm finding so many people are going to AI and they're getting spiritual advice. They're getting advice from ETs. They're being told that there's some kind of special person with a mission, all this kind of stuff. I know a couple people who have gone completely, well, for lack of a better word, stark raving mad. I can't even deal with them anymore because they're so into, like, they're so full of themselves because they think they've got godlike qualities because AI told them. But I don't mean to paint that picture. Maybe you think it's great. I don't know, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
No, honestly, I honestly got off of TikTok like quite a while ago because the content was overwhelmingly where okay, people were paying for sessions. So the way you would like, I mean, I've been a psychic medium. I've done all this stuff and like I've helped people through intuitive guidance for helping people heal, blah blah blah. Cool beans. Now when you're booking an appointment with someone who you're booking it with their AI, I'm mind blown. But then it started to come across where, um, people were showing that AI could show their soul contracts and their Akashic records. And I was like,
Mhm. Mhm.
what are we doing here? And then there's been like a huge like, and it's become more recognized, this psychosis that has been happening. And actually it's funny, earlier today I was reading an article that OpenAI will be retiring ChatGPT 4.0 or whatever it was, because there is a real legitimate issue with the psychosis that has been happening. And so they're actually going to be taking away the old version so that it can no longer be that same um, agreeable, flattering, everything like that. Now, uh, I find AI to be useful in certain ways.
Mhm.
Um, but I guess my big thing, and I realize that not everybody uses AI the same. So for me,
Mhm. True that.
I like to argue with it, and not in a rude way or anything, but like when I can't find things because I don't know why, but Google really doesn't like my searches. And if I find like really interesting information, my
Mhm.
history gets deleted, and all of a sudden, somehow a whole
Mm.
day is missing, except for one recipe here and the next recipe that was almost like 18 hours later. But I digress. So I will argue with it to find things, but um I have my logical reasoning of me that I want to be like, well, isn't this make sense? Like, how would blah blah blah? And I call it out on its wrongs, right? And it's funny that it's getting stupider, which is really bothersome, is that like for how much people are really agreeing to agree to everything that is being said in this. Um people are like, "Oh, well, they're losing their critical thinking." If you're not reading your AI answer through a critical thinking lens, just ask it to do up a recipe. You'd be surprised at what screwed up mess you will make. Trust me on this. I did it because it updated the AI. This was like a year ago or something. And the primary AI I had was like, it helped me create a carrot cake recipe because I wanted to like use a couple. And that's where I'll ask it questions like, can I use this type of method with this type of flour? Because I want to know if I can connect this, or can you give me the science breakdown of how these ingredients work so that I'm not ever, I like to know the, how does something work so that I can do it myself. And so I'm never
Mhm.
limited by whatever. And so, yeah, no, I was like asking it about my sourdough recipe after one time, and it's like, "Yep, you can use 1 to 2 tablespoons of this," and I was like, no, no, you do not use that much vitamin C powder in it to make it more sour. That's how you destroy it. You use less than a quarter teaspoon for
Mhm.
700 grams of flour. We do not use, but that's the thing, is like, if you don't check it, and it's getting dumber and dumber where, I've given up on it, like, I I can't even bother with it now after the last couple times that I've been on it, asking it for simple things that I just wanna be able to essentially take 5 Google searches and amalgamate them into one for me so that I can
Mhm.
take the pieces, and when it can't even give me a basic search, essentially, I'm just like, "Wow, we've gotten worse and worse," but they're depending on it, they're believing in it, not realizing what, um it could it don't get me wrong, it could be used for good things,
Mhm.
um, but like most often, everything that has been really bad in history could have been used for good things.
Mhm.
It's the
True that.
choices that we've done with them. It's
Mhm.
like the worst people in the world, the power that they had could have done incredible things if they did it with, like, integrity and, like, we're good. Because it wasn't the power that was wrong, it was how it was used, and I think that's the same with AI, that it could be used for something so incredible, but I also think that, it's been corrupted enough, and so have the people, that it's going to either top out and it's going to, like, break itself,
Mhm.
as like, they've said that it's eating itself because it ran out of, human information, right, to consume, that it's now consuming its own self information, and it's leading to fail points, and it's coming to points where like people really need to be aware that you may just end up screwing yourself over. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't check it, if you don't actually bother to read it, if you just want to be heard, I get it. You just want to be heard. But do you really feel heard if you don't bother reading the entire thing? Because a lot of people don't bother reading the actual full answer that
Mm-hmm.
AI gives them, because it's not about AI, it's about them. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to know if they're right. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's risky biscuits. I have found that it's not what it's being marketed as. So, for instance, sure, it can take my videos and turn it into clips, and I actually have used it. There's a feature here on StreamYard where it will produce a few clips. Not too many because I have the lowest paid tier that they have. And but you see, AI doesn't know where I'm coming from. AI doesn't know what's in my head and what aspect of what was said that I want to share with other people. It doesn't, it can't tell the gems from the junk. And it wraps it all up in flowery language that I find kind of a bit annoying. But anyway, we're running out of time. Phoenix, I'd love to have you back. It's been a great conversation. I'm sorry things got off to a bit of a slow start, but you're here now, and you've had so many good things to share with the audience. Why don't you tell people what you're up to, where they can find you? Do you have plans for your channel? What's going on? Just, I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to get into your private business, just whatever you want to share with everybody, because I'm sure they'd love to follow up on a lot of the things you've said.
Well, you can always find me here because I'm usually always, I mean, Sundays, I'm getting better. I'm getting better that at remembering that it's not the same time as the rest of them. I'm really getting better, especially because YouTube doesn't always like to send out the
Hmm.
notifications and things like that, or they send it out like 2 minutes after you've just ended, but it's still
Yeah.
showing it as a lot. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So you can usually find me here. But check me out on Instagram. My name is the same pretty much everywhere. I think Reddit is the only one that's different. I think it's like PhoenixingAshes, but I'm sure if you still looked up Fearlessly Phoenixing, it'd probably show up too there. Absolutely everything is all Fearlessly Phoenixing. You can email me at fearlesslyphoenixing at gmail.com. And as well, that's what my channel is here. And for the future, I've been really having fun hanging out with Jay and his crew of people.
Hmm.
And I'm just getting my feet wet as I like slowly figure it out, because I'm someone who requires a trigger. You know, I need I need something to trigger the recall. Otherwise, it's
Hmm.
like a library back here that has, until somebody asks something, until something's triggered, there's no reason to go grab the book, you know?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes, yes, I get like downloads and things like that of some interesting information, but it's like, it's almost like as if it's being channeled at all times. Some form of like the trigger, the recall is all a channeled like situation that I can't just pull it back up and be like, this is what I'm going to say. So it's been a process. I'm figuring it out and having fun. So I guess uh keep you guys updated.
Yeah, awesome. No, I totally get what you're saying. I never know what I'm going to say on a show. I may have a couple of key words. I wrote down map maker, synchronicities, because I'm going to put them in the hashtags in the description. But I never know. And sometimes, I'll finish. I recently was guest on someone else's podcast, and I felt so bad after because I didn't sleep good the night before. Was when I don't sleep well, my memory recall stalls on me. And it was just, I thought it was just awful. And I felt so bad afterwards. And then all of a sudden, I get all these people contacting me. Oh, I saw you on that podcast. You were great. I really love what you had to say. And I went, wow, it's so awesome. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank you, Phoenix. And Phoenix is also my second moderator, helping me out so that I can focus on the guests. Thank you so much for that. And I will definitely have you back. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys are absolutely awesome. You really make my day. Thank you so much. And for everyone watching a replay or listening on an audio podcast, I'm sending out much love to everybody. And I want everybody to take care. And we'll see you again Tuesday with Joan Wyden, if you can make it, for the Unseen Nexus. We're going to talk about the shadow side of Valentine's Day. And so I'd love to hear what y'all have to say about that. So I guess with that, we'll end the stream and we'll say bye-bye, everybody. See you Tuesday or Wednesday. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Read about my true life ET contact in my book called Transdimensional Meet the New Neighbors, which is now available on Amazon worldwide. Subscribe to my YouTube, Rumble, and X channels at Karen Holton TV. The like button and leave me a comment. And please do share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All of the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you'll also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.